and Yankees fans, welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles here on YouTube, where the fans become family. I'm Rob, and I got Donald. I'm trying to figure out where he is. I don't know why he's not showing up on the screen, but he is here with me. There he is. We got Donald here. We gotta fix these squares. We're a little too close up to the screen there, but I don't know why it keeps knocking him out. But let's get Donald back in here. There we go. We are finally back. A little bit of issue starting things off, but what was not an issue was the Yankees taking a series against the Boston Red Sox, 3 games out of 4. Certainly nice to beat up on the Red Sox. Hopefully put their season to rest. And Donald, how are we feeling on this Monday morning?
Good. Put them to rest. 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox, especially considering they were targeting Aaron Judge. So good that we got the series out of it and shut them up. A lot of credit goes to Rodon. Aaron Judge is now back to hitting again. Excellent. And Gleyber Torres continues to be hitting the hell out of the ball in the leadoff spot. Bullpen held it down. Really impressed with the bullpen.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely was solid. Aside from that one game, which we're going to get into because there was a lot that happened in that loss that we took in the series. Just want to say what's up to everybody that is in the chat. They were here before we even went live. The usual suspects: CT, Jonathan, Ken, Bernie Williams is here. John the Beagle Dad is here. NFE, the Strike Zone. Make sure you subscribe to NFE on the road to 1,000. Subscribe to us as well, of course. Nosebleeds here. Demon D is here. Egyptian Magician. We've got the whole crew. Cold Italian Pizza, Gabagool, Gregory Wayne, Joe Coelho. Hope I'm saying your name right. Jones Seco is here. Dev Finch is here. Good to see everybody on a Monday morning talking some Yankees baseball. Let's try to get the negative out of the way.
Okay.
The Garrett Cole game.
Debacle.
The debacle. There's so much back and forth going on about the decision to intentionally walk Rafael Devers in the 4th inning. I didn't like it. I think it made him look weak. I do. Doesn't mean I don't understand the situation or what they were trying to do, because Devers does own Garrett Cole. We talked about this on the previous show. Garrett Cole himself admitted it. But I don't like it. What were your thoughts in chat? Let us know. What were your thoughts about the whole thing? Did you like the decision? Do you think it made him look a bit soft? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, listen, it does make him look soft. So there is definitely that. You don't want to show weakness as the ace of the staff, especially considering he comes off a Cy Young last year. So there's no reason for him to be afraid. Michael K broke it down perfectly at the time. He was like, worst case scenario, he hits it out of the park. It's a 1-1 game. It's not the end of the world. But he puts a runner on, and then he just asks for trouble. And he kind of got what he deserved. But it's not all on him either, because this looks like it was an organizational decision. And there was miscommunication. Austin Wells was not aware of this decision or plan. And clearly Garrett Cole wasn't obviously sure about when it was supposed to start, because he just went ahead and did it. And obviously, and Aaron Boone said afterwards that he didn't want to do it in that spot, but they had discussed it pregame. Honestly, this front office, this analytics crew, this Aaron Boone, never underestimate the stupidity of this front office, because they will find ways to do incredibly stupid things. But it is technically on Garrett Cole, for sure. But the fact they even had this discussion pregame and didn't, if you're going to have this discussion is one thing, but to not go through the ins and outs of the scenarios in which that you would, in fact, pitch around him is bizarre to me. And not let your catcher know is bizarre to me. And not have it absolutely firm in Garrett Cole's head exactly when he wants this to happen and when he doesn't want it to happen. Now, I'm not excusing Garrett Cole by any stretch of the imagination because it falls on him. I have no idea why he chose to do that in that spot. He was having a no hit game to this point. He was cruising, so he put himself in that spot. It's completely insane. But the lack of communication from a manager who's hired for his communication skills continues to bewilder me. Um, Obviously, number one at fault for this is of course Garrett Cole because Aaron Boone didn't want him to do that in that spot. But again, if the communication is so poor that the catcher doesn't know about it and the pitcher doesn't know what scenarios that you want this to happen, it sounds like everyone's at fault here, and it sounds like it's a big, giant mess. That we're very, very lucky that we came out on top with the series because that could real freaking show this weekend.
Yeah, I want to get to a few comments here, like this one from NFE. And look, I'm not going to go after anybody for their opinions. I'm not going to call you stupid for disagreeing, like some people would. But he says if the Red Sox hit into a double play with Devers on base, this conversation would not be happening. My counter to that was you should have never put yourself in that situation.
Facts.
Bases were empty. It's a 1-0 game. There was one out. Why play with fire? Why are we treating Tyler O'Neill like he's DJ LeMahieu?
Yeah.
Tyler O'Neill, he did it in the first inning, I get it, but you hit Devers, and then O'Neill hit into a double play. You're taking a chance that it's going to happen again with the guy that has 30 home runs. Tyler O'Neill's having a good year. Yoshida's having a good year when he came back from the injury. He's been really good. Abreu's having a good year. Why are you playing with fire? Why are you trying to play with fire when you don't need to be? That was my point. If this was the 6th inning and it was 1-0 and it's like, okay, there's a base open and 2 outs, by all means, put Devers on. Don't let him be the one to beat you and get a force at any base. That's strategy. But in a 1-run game with nobody out, that's your strategy, is to just give him a free base and here comes the go-ahead run at the plate. A really good hitter. You know, that's what I didn't like. And NFE, I see, don't trust me, I see your comments. I see everyone's comments. We got a lot of different opinions. Ken, he said that, Donald, you've been advocating, like a lot of people, to walk Devers. What's different about this situation? Basically, it's a 1-run game in the 4th inning, and you got your ace pitching. And why, I know that Cole has terrible numbers against Devers. But you're paying this dude $34 million, whatever it is, to be your ace. I want him going out to everybody. If I'm going to talk about me personally. When teams walk Aaron Judge, I don't like it. I think they look soft. I think they look cowardly. I get why they're doing it. Don't get me wrong. I get why they're doing it. I don't like it. That's my opinion on it. So I'm not going to change my tune because the Yankees did it. I'm not going to say, well, it's strategy when the Yankees do it, but when the other teams do it, they're cowards. They're scared. I get it. Devers kicks your ass, but God forbid this was an October game. Do you want to give up a free base and play with fire? I know it's not an October game, but every game does matter. You're still chasing a division title right now. I didn't like it. That's my whole point. I don't like it. I don't like your ace going out there and doing that. If that's Jake Cousins or Tim Mayza on the mound, by all means, put him on base. But it's Garrett Cole. This is your ace. This is Garrett Cole that you're having this strategy with. And to leave Austin Wells out of it, I thought was foolish because now Wells has got to be like, what's the strategy for the next batter?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And what did he do to O'Neill? He walked him. And then what happens? The floodgates open. And the game was over from that point on. So I'm not going to let this one decision make me say some crazy statement like, oh, they should let Garrett Cole walk or whatever, because some people are out there saying that. But in this scenario, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I don't like it either. I think it sends a bad message, and it's kind of. I don't understand why someone's saying, "Oh well, people have been wanting him to pitch around Devers," and then they complain that when they finally did it. I mean, look at that situation. There was no reason for him to do it in that particular situation early in the game. where the base is empty and you're cruising. You've not given up a hit to this point. So you're putting yourself in a spot that you didn't need to put in. So it didn't make sense to me, and I didn't like what I heard afterwards. I almost prayed that it was all on Garrett Cole, but the fact that there was an organizational discussion about this really concerns me because again, there was no communication, and this is something that Aaron Boone just doesn't do, even though he's been hired for his communication skills. You can once we go back to the 2022 postseason when Clay Holmes said he was available and Aaron Boone said he wasn't, and Harrison Bader didn't know he was leading off because Aaron Boone didn't tell him. I mean, this is not uncharted territory for us, and that's why. I mean, yeah, great. We won the series. Is awesome, but these little things, if this comes up in October, that can't happen. It can't happen. So these kind of things should never be happening in the first place. I absolutely agree with pitching around Devers in spots where he could do damage late in the game. If there's runners on, whatever. I don't know what the situation would be off the top of my head, but situations where he could do damage to us is when you want to be careful. Don't allow a home run. But early in the game, the first 3 innings, when you're up 1-0, I mean, what are we doing here? So, not good. Garrett Cole showed a sign of weakness, which I haven't seen before from him, and that's a little concerning. Just not good. Not good all around. There's no excusing it. Absolutely no excusing it.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it comes down to is it turned out to be a disastrous move. Now, had it worked, you'd have been like, hey, wow, yeah, it worked out. But just, again, you're seeing that the Red Sox lineup is good. They're not all-stars. They're not the greatest lineup you've ever seen, but they've got guys that can beat you. We talked about this the other day. They're pesky. They're annoying. And the guys that were after Devers can all beat you. Tyler O'Neill has 30, now 31 because of yesterday, but he had 30 home runs at the time, an 800 OPS player. Yoshida, the same thing with the OPS. He's not a power threat, but he's a guy that's hitting 290. He hits it all over the place. And then there's Abreu, another 800 OPS player. The Yankees don't have that in their lineup. You can argue that the Red Sox lineup is more deep than what the Yankees is right now. But why play with the fire when you don't need to be? That was my whole thing, is you didn't need to be put in that spot in the 4th inning. It just didn't it didn't make sense to me. Now I'm not going to attack anybody for having a different opinion. I'm willing to debate it. But I'll answer NFE's question. If teams do it to Judge, why are we not freaking out? I said it just a few minutes ago. When they do it to Judge, I call them scared. Do I understand the situation? Yes. But I think it looks cowardly to just give the guy a free base, no matter who it is. So if I'm going to say that about teams when they do it to Judge, it would look incredibly hypocritical of me to say when the Yankees do it, it's strategic. That's it. I don't want to come off as being too, obviously I'm going to be Yankee biased. I'm a Yankee fan, but like in this situation, if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd be like, this dude's a coward. This dude's soft. He's afraid. Because he just 2 days before, he said, Devers kicks my ass. We talked about it on the show Friday. And then you hit him in the first, and then you do the 4 fingers and you kind of like lay him to first base. Did you see that? Like that.
He laid it like,
yeah, he like whoop, and then he just gives him like, I don't know. It was a bad look. Obviously, it didn't help us at all because we lost, but we did win the series. So I did want to get that out of the way because I know it was going to be brought up in the chat.
You're right. The Ole was hilarious.
Yeah, in his face.
Didn't just put the 4 fingers up. He was like, whoop.
Yeah, and then and then what happened? The Red Sox were like, all right, that's how you feel, and they kicked his ass in that inning. So it was just
no, like what weird optics, man! It's so weird optics. What the fuck? Boston. It was kind of like Pedro Martinez calling the Yankees his daddy.
It was strange. It was very, very strange.
it was like, yeah, you're my daddy, so I'm putting you on first. I don't want to pitch to you, even in the third inning. Dude, it's like Devers is like my top five favorite players outside of the Yankees in the league. I think he's awesome. I love watching him. But let's be honest here. He's not Aaron Judge. I don't know why we're giving him the Aaron Judge treatment right off the bat. I mean, there's certain scenarios which do call for pitching around him. As Damien points out, there are certain scenarios where you do that, and I've been saying that. Um, this wasn't one of them, so there was no reason to do it, and it just looked bad, and it really, and Michael K was really pissed. You could tell immediately he was pissed off. Even Paul O'Neill was like, "All right, okay, you're pretty mad about this," because it was so weird. He just put himself in that spot. So freaking weird. But I mean, let's not pretend that Devers is Aaron Judge. So there's no reason to give him that treatment right off the bat. So I just weird, absolutely weird. Um, Never gonna do that.
Yeah, but we wanted to get that out of the way early because for the most part it was a good series. What's up, Maza Raziel as well said, "Have you paid the plug yet? Get those likes up." So listen to Raziel, hit those thumbs up, hit that sub button if you want to join in on the discussion that we're having here with 23 awesome people on a Monday morning talking about a Yankees series win over the Boston Red Sox. So the rest of the series was very good. We had the walk-off win. We kicked their ass a little bit. Aaron Judge is back. Let's talk about the positives. Aaron Judge with 2 home runs in this series, the grand slam that was probably the best moment of this series. Did you see it coming, or did you just kind of be like, just get a double? Like, what were your expectations in that at bat, and how crazy did you go when you hit the grand slam? Because I probably woke up my neighborhood.
What a moment! You know what? My mouth just dropped. I was just like, wow. I mean, that's just pure cinema. Absolute cinema is the way I could describe it. And Jazz Chisholm was excited off the top, taking Boone aside, going, "Wow, this is sick right here. This is freaking sick." Because the Yankee fans were going nuts, and what a moment! As Regiel says here, Grand Slam, that is Hollywood stuff. It really is. It was. It was a Hollywood. It was a Hollywood finish. Outrageous, outrageous. It's going to be one of those moments that when we're looking back on this year, this will probably be like the number one moment. At the moment, for me, like the number one moment was Juan Soto's home run in San Francisco. And it was so exciting, and the go ahead home run there, it was so epic. But this clears it. This absolutely clears it. So I think when we're looking back in this season, I think that will be like the number one moment that we'll always remember. Where were you when Aaron Judge hits that grand slam to beat the Boston Red Sox? Especially in the spot, because I remember 10 minutes prior, I was texting you going, well, fucked another game again because of Mark Leiter Jr. This game's over again because of that bomb that we keep sending out there. But Aaron Judge is like, no, I got you. Crazy.
Yeah, I think I just texted you like, holy shit, or you texted me holy shit, and that's really all you can say.
The fucking captain, that's my fucking captain.
Yeah, that was my text, and you just said holy shit, like it was just like a speechless moment.
Yeah, I was speechless. I was like,
I couldn't believe it. It was just pure It's baseball. Baseball. How can you not be romantic about baseball? And hopefully that's number 2 moment, and number 1 is the final out of a World Series win. But if that's not the case, then that's probably gonna be the number 1 moment of the season. Mazza says he was okay with Cole walking Devers. He'd rather have anyone but Devers beating Cole. I respect that. Chisholm is an animal. He's been such a breath of fresh air for this team. Love that part. I love Jazz Chisholm. I wish he'd stop getting thrown out on the base pads. But other than that, he's been he's been great. I love Jazz Chisholm. He is an energetic player. That's exactly what we needed. He brings the speed. He brings the swag that we need. He brings the energy that we need. And Fortrain Mazza also saying Soto and Chisholm should stay. Well, Chisholm will guarantee he's going to be here next year. Soto should be given a blank check, and Chisholm should get an extension. Well, we got him for I think 2 more years after this, so we'll see what happens after that. But I do love Jazz, and if they can keep him here for the long haul, I'm all for it. He's been absolutely incredible. Aside from the Judge home run, we had some decent pitching. We had Giancarlo Stanton coming through yesterday. As Raziel brings up, Stanton quietly producing. This is what he does. He kind of just, when he goes in his little mini slumps, he'll just have a big hit and hopefully gets out of him. And Giancarlo Stanton had the big hit yesterday. He had a couple of RBIs, and then obviously Judge putting the exclamation point on it. But Giancarlo, if he can get hot at the right time, which is right now, and go into October, we know how good he is in the postseason. He could be the key. Everyone's talking about Judge and Soto. They have to be good. Well, Giancarlo Stanton has to be October Giancarlo Stanton, and we're going to have a very good chance of going pretty far.
Yeah, he had a quite important role in the final game of the series, coming up big in a couple of spots. That's what Stanton's been doing. He's been doing that most of his career as a Yankee, man. Put him in a big spot. He tends to come through. As Rajiel says, I never worry about Big G. He always finds a way. I think it's unbelievable how Yankee fans have treated him to this point. When low key, he's actually been pretty damn good as a Yankee. Like all these years getting booed before. Why? Because he's injured. He can't help being injured. If he was injuring himself, you know what I mean? If he was like freaking mountain biking down dirt roads and falling off his mountain bike and stuff like that, then okay. It's always coming from him trying to play baseball. The truth is, when he's healthy, he produces. You know what I'm saying? When he's healthy, he freaking produces. And he's producing. He's produced basically all season long.
Yeah. He's been great. And with the injury, he's still going to come close to a 30 home run season. So, I mean, we got to just, when he's on the field, we have to take whatever we can get from him. And if he's giving us those big hits and he's putting up big numbers in the playoffs, that's all people are going to remember him by. Because look, A-Rod, his last few years with the team, they were very forgettable, right? I mean, like he had the suing thing and the steroid, the suspension. He did have a really fun year in 2015, but what does everyone remember about A-Rod now? We don't try to think about the last few years. We think about 2009. We think about that 1 October. So if we can get that 1 October from Stanton and he gets one ring with us, no one's going to care about the injuries. That's all. I just think it's very unfair how he gets treated from the fan base because, like you said, he's never gotten hurt riding a mountain bike. Or what was it? 2 years ago for the Giants, Xavier McKinney hurt him. Yeah, he hurt himself, or he wasn't playing basketball like Aaron Boone was and got hurt. You know, right. He's getting hurt playing the game that he's getting paid to play. Unfortunately, he's just getting hurt every year, and he's missing a lot of time. And when he does get hurt, it takes him a while to get back into his groove. But I can't get mad at a guy for playing and getting hurt. You know, it's unfortunate that the injuries have slowed him down because this guy could be 600 home run type of player, maybe even more.
Easily.
So,
I think he probably would have been at 500 like now had he been hurt. But that's and just to pick up on Fortrain's point here, I don't care that he's batting 230. He's been great. Well, that's one of the positives, I guess, of the other metrics that are included now, such as OPS, because that really tells the story of Stanton's year is touching an 800 OPS, which is excellent. You know what I'm saying? That really shows the power that he's been given this lineup. He's been awesome.
Yeah, that's why I think analytics are important because it can tell you a broader story. Now, should it be used for everything? No, but for a player like Stanton, you're not going to be like, oh, he's not hitting 270. Oh my God, he's terrible. But you look at his other numbers, you're like, those are good numbers.
Yeah.
Look at Aaron Judge. He's always going to hit like 300 plus. But if you look at a guy like when Joey Gallo was in his prime, if there was a prime, he was always a low average, but everything else metrically was like through the roof. The guy was on base at like a 370 clip, and his
Yeah.
slugging was 5 something, and he was a 900 to 1,000 OPS player. So analytics are always important for certain players. Like a guy like Luis Arias is going to be hitting for a great average, but
Right.
is his OPS going to be through the roof like a Giancarlo Stanton's or I mean Aaron Judge would be? Probably not, but Arias is a great freaking hitter. You know, and there's other things you can look at, like Gleyber Torres, that OPS is rising. And because of that, his weighted runs created plus is rising. He's now actually over 100 for the season. Gleyber's been
Wow.
fantastic
Pretty
with
good.
the bat, but his defensive.
Well, Stan's got the number one bat speed in the game.
Right, and that's always important. To keep these things matter. Analytics do matter. Do the Yankees use them too much? Probably, but they certainly do matter. But pitching wise, outside of Garrett Cole, what were your overall thoughts about the pitching before we get into the awards for this whole thing?
Yeah, I liked Rodon's outing. Um, Credit to him getting to 15 dubs. And we're not even finished the season yet. So even though the 4.12 ERA is a little elevated, I'd like to get that under 4 in the 3.9s. That would be much better for me. But 15 dubs, you can't argue. You can't argue. He's worked incredibly hard to get back to being a reliable pitcher, and I thought he pitched really, really well. Nestor Cortez has pitched well, and surprisingly, it's meant that Stroman is out of the rotation as of right now. And Stroman hasn't even pitched all that badly. He's not been great post All-Star break, but that's been a common trend with him over the last couple of years. This is a reoccurring trend with him. But no, everyone seems to have stepped up. And what about Clark Schmidt? He's been really good since coming back. So yeah, there was a lot of positives. The only negative was bizarrely Garrett Cole of all things. But I don't think that's going to last.
Mark Leiter. Let's not forget Mark
Well,
Leiter.
I'm talking about the starters.
Right,
yeah. Just yet. The only surprise was Garrett Cole, but I mean that's not gonna last. I mean, the only thing that matters with Garrett Cole is October.
Right.
I mean, the season was always going to be a wash with the injuries to this point anyway, so it's all about October. If he pitches like he did last year in October, then there'll be zero complaints. Take it every single time.
Yeah, and as Damien says, Luke fucking Weaver. I mean, dude's electric, man. He's taken that role and ran away with it.
Yep.
Leiter just set up for the Soto walk-off. Yeah, I mean, nasty Nestor. The Yankees' magic number is 2. That's for a playoff spot, I believe, not for the division. But yeah, they can clinch a playoff spot very, very soon. And they don't play tonight, but hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be talking about a clinch playoff spot. However, it is about at the midway point of the show. Why don't we get into the awards for this 4-game set against the Red Sox?
What up, what up, what up? Okay, so first of all, guys, hit the like button. Not enough likes here. Come on, hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. And if you haven't already done so, hit the sub button. Let's get this thing climbed up. Right, so let's get into business. Get down to business here. Let's start with the MVP. I don't think there'll be too much of a debate here. It has to be Aaron Judge, number 99. Rob.
Yeah, it's Aaron Judge. Absolutely. The grand slam and the home run yesterday. The Paw Patrol curse is apparently no more. He got his lucky bat back, and he's back to hitting home runs. So let's see how many he finishes with. Probably won't be 60 again, but hey, who cares? He's still having an MVP season.
Was it 5 hits, 6 ribbies for the series?
Yeah, just unbelievable. He won 2 games for us, essentially.
He did. He's back. Captain's back. Only took a 10-day sabbatical. That's all right. And now he's back, and now he's rocking and rolling. Let's give him the MVP. Absolutely, the chat agrees. I wouldn't be having anything else other than that. To be fair, low key MVP. I'll start. I'm giving it to Gleyber Torres. Guy continues to be hitting a leadoff spot. Um, Again, he's odd defensively. Like that moment where he just watched the ball go towards him, and he's like, "I'm good. I'm good. I can't be fucked today. I'll get it another day." That was bizarre, but the fact that he just continues to hit makes up for it. So I have to give him the low-key MVP. I'm not his biggest fan, I'll tell you that, but he still continues to come through. He's been driving the ball beautifully. He's hit into all fields. He's taken advantage of that short porch in right field, and he's starting to get a couple of home runs in there, thanks to that nice little short porch. Good for him for targeting it because this when he's hot, he's able to hit to all fields. So he's able to hit the other way. He's able to hit to right, and that's what he's been doing. He's been great from the leadoff spot. Another underrated aspect of him leading off is he takes a lot of pitches, and it really, really allows Soto and Aaron Judge to see the full pitcher's arsenal before they even face Judge and Soto. So it's an advantage, you know. It's a big advantage for us. So low key, it's Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, we're in alignment so far. First two awards, we got the same ones. Gleyber Torres was great. He continues to Gleba, as Raziel likes to call him. He's been great. I don't know what the hell happened to him post All Star break or since going to the leadoff spot, but it seemed to flip a switch in him. Was it the benching? Was it just being put in that leadoff spot again? But whatever it was, he's ran away with it. And I'll say this: if this keeps up and he has a good October, he could be looking into a contract. I don't know if that's going to be a qualifying offer, but I don't know. I don't know if there's a second baseman that we can call up that right now would be better than this. I mean, I don't want to say it's a definite thing, but if this, well, then who's playing third is the question. We don't really have a third baseman. Do they trust Peraza? Yeah, that would be the natural choice, but they haven't necessarily shown that they like the guy.
No,
And
but
next year is really the last chance. So we'll see. But for so far, Glaber has been doing excellent. So hopefully it does keep up. But he is my low key.
he has been great. He has been great. It looks like everybody agrees in the chat. And if he asks, would be Peraza at third? That's what I would go with. But the Yankees hate Peraza, so I mean, there's no doubt that they'd be looking for another infielder if they didn't sign Gleyber Torres. I wouldn't be surprised if Gleyber comes back if Soto doesn't, because then they'd probably pivot. But we'll go down that road. We'll cross that bridge when we get into the off season. For now, I'm just happy that Gleyber Torres is actually playing league average ball because he was so bad all the way up to the All-Star break and slightly beyond to be this point where he's been absolutely mashing. So, listen, tip my cap because we've needed him. We've definitely needed him lately. So, as I say, all the pitches that he takes allows Soto and Judge to get a good handle on these pitchers, and then Stanton after that. So, good job. Let's get to the Clutch Award. I think. Wonder who it is. Let's ask Rob.
You got to give it to Judge, but I mean, you can give it to Soto as well because Soto had the walk-off hit. But that grand slam, I mean, you can't take that away from Judge. I like to give it to both of them. Spencer in the chat. Good to see you, Spencer, chatting with us. It's always nice. Tats, obviously, for anyone wondering, I saw a question earlier from Jared. Tats isn't Disney, so that's why he's not with us. He's enjoying some time off with his wife. He's having a good time in the Magic Kingdom. He met up with some people. He's having a good time.
Mickey Mouse, by any chance?
Mickey Mouse, probably. He probably had a long conversation about baseball with Mickey Mouse, and Mickey looked at him confused. But Tats is having some fun. And he usually gets a text from Spencer.
Tend to look at him when he speaks.
Yeah, he usually gets those texts from Spencer and gives out Spencer's awards, but it's always good to see Spencer in the chat. So Spencer, we love you. Hope you're doing well, buddy. But yeah, I'm giving it to Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Judge. There's no debate. I mean, Soto's my boy. I absolutely love him, man. He's a king. But Judge is the Clutch Award winner. This is the Aaron Judge show this series. Aaron Judge, 3, Boston 1. was basically what it was. Aaron Judge just took that series and owned Boston. Um, he's the MVP. Aaron Judge, absolute clutch award. Let's get to the pitching award. I'll start. Give me Luke Weaver. You could argue that he was clutch as well. To be fair, he was very clutch, Luke Weaver. But
Yeah.
Luke Weaver, absolutely the pitching award. Um, Credit to Aaron Boone for making the right call with the bullpen. I love the fact that he gave him the eighth and the ninth inning. When he came in the eighth, I was like, "Are you kidding me? We're not. We're not. Don't tell me we're not. We're not taking it out, putting in Clay Holmes. Dear God." But no, he stuck with him, and Luke Weaver has just been an absolute animal in these high leverage spots. So once again, another award goes to Luke Weaver. Rob,
Like Weaver a lot. He's got that dog mentality that we need in the ninth inning. You could give it to Rodon, you can give it to Schmidt, you can give it to Cortez, but I want to give a shout out to the Ham Dog. Ian Hamilton looked really good. He's come in now fresh off the IL, and he's looking like his self from last year. That Slambio pitch that they call it, which is probably the weirdest name I've ever heard. Something
The
straight out
what?
of Major. The Slambio, that's his pitch. That's what they call it. It's straight out of Major League, the Eliminator, the Terminator, the other word that I'm not going to say, but yeah, they call it something else in the movie. But that Slambio pitch is working, and he looked filthy. I'm going to give him the pitching award. I loved what Weaver did, but I'm giving it to Ian Hamilton.
all right, all right. Let's get to Aaron Boone. Rob.
Was he a part of the Cole decision? If that's the case, John. All right, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. Go get some work done. What do I give Aaron Boone? We won the series. His lighter decision almost cost us a game. Yeah, it was the Parkman call, Egyptian Magician. You know what I'm saying. I'm giving him a 6. We did win the series. I don't want to give him a 7 because he did have some boneheaded moves, but I'll go with 6.
Yeah. The fact that we took 3 out of 4, and the fact that he went with Weaver in the big spots and generally handled the bullpen apart from Leiter pretty well. He deserves credit for that, but the miscommunication with the catcher, with Garrett Cole, all that stuff. And if he gives him a 9, are you related to him somehow? Are you guys like cousins or something? 9 out of 10, come on. Well, give me a 6. I think 6 is fair. I'm gonna agree with Rob here. We're gonna have the same awards, but I think it's fair. 6 out of 10 is pretty much fair. Damien says 2 for that cool strategy. Absolutely. Fortran gives him a 7. That's pretty fair too. Sunil says I was going 6, but he deducts half a point. And if he got lucky last night, you were generous, my brother. Definitely not related. Check your eyes, bro. Dude, you need to check your eyes. If you're giving Aaron Boone 9 out of 10, hey, don't come at me, bro. So 6 out of 10, I think, is pretty fair. Let's go with the L. Let's start with Rob.
Garrett Cole. He takes the L. He was terrible. And that decision, the Olay we talked about earlier, it was an L. The whole entire 4th inning, everything about it was an L. And from that point on, he looked like a completely different pitcher. He's taking the L. I can't give it to anybody else.
The chat completely agrees with you, 100%. It has to be Garrett Cole. And Elliot's right here. The Cole decision was a monumentally bad decision and was communicated poorly. Boone deserves the demerits. Absolutely, man. Spot on. Preach. Elliot speaking absolute facts here in his return to the chat. Salute to you, man. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I agree with you, man. So me and Rob, once again, for like the second straight pod, have basically exactly the same awards.
We need Tats back to break up the
I know, to
tie.
change things up a little bit. You know, give it to Give it to Mickey Mouse and Wade Boggs and
The
Babe
Heat in
Ruth and stuff.
Orlando.
We love you, Tats. We do. So no, it's Garrett Cole. What an what a mistake. And the Ole is probably the most galling aspect of the whole thing. Just the mere sight of Devers was like, what the hell was that?
Oh my god! I might change my award to my dad for that. Cole is a has been. Jesus,
Oh,
I might take his wrench. I might take his wrench away for that. I won't stand for this. Let's not. Let's just get. Let me get into a quick tiny rant for a second
go
because
for
there are
it.
certain people out there that are saying because of this the Yankees should consider Garrett Cole not coming back next year. They should let him walk if he opts out. That is the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my life. You are not letting. Garrett Cole has been here since 2020. He is putting himself in the Yankee record books so quickly. This guy, by the time he's retired, he's probably going to be at the top of every single Yankee pitching list you can possibly have. You do not let him walk for the hope that some other free agent is going to come in here and replicate what he's done. Because the last two free agents we've signed to big contracts have not been very good. Rodon overall has been okay, not $27 million okay. And Stroman for $18.5 million has not been that good. So no, Garrett Cole is not a has-been. He had one terrible start. The dude's pitching with the bad elbow and still has 87 strikeouts in like 70-something innings. He is the ace. There's nobody I trust more in this rotation to lead us to a championship. There's nobody I trust more in this rotation to pitch game 1 of 2025 than Garrett Cole. Enough of this nonsense of letting him walk. I just had to go on and say that because I'm seeing it too much. Because of one bad decision, Garrett Cole has to go. You called him a has-been. He's not a has-been. The dude's still got an ERA under 4 pitching hurt. Like, how's that a has-been? He just won the Cy Young a year ago. Sorry. This is nonsense.
You got to do better, Mr. Mush. You got to do better than that. You just said you did actually literally say that. I know. That's gaslighting 101. I never said that. You said it. I saw the post. Bro, come on, man. So, yeah, listen. I love Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is my guy, and I'm riding with that guy. He made a boneheaded decision, made a bonehead call, along with the organization. And they're all complicit in boneheadedness. But Garrett Cole is special. We are blessed to have him. Not only is he the best pitcher in baseball when fully healthy, which he is, he's a record breaker, as Rob points out. So just because we criticize him for one little thing here, he doesn't deserve anything more than that. It's just a monumental mistake, and we move on. And I'm sure he'll get it back together because he's not actually pitched all that badly this year. He's had a couple, but the problem is if you've only got a couple of starts for a whole season, then 2 or 3 bad starts basically blows up your ERA. But he's had a bunch of starts this year where he was pitching shutout ball, getting like 10 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts. He's been fine. He's had a couple of starts where he hasn't pitched well. It wouldn't show up over a course of like 30 starts, but over a course of 10 to 15, you know what I'm saying? Then it heightens things and makes things look worse than they are. Rob, have you got some of his numbers? Because I don't think they're that bad.
I think after that start, his ERA went up to like a 3.9.
Which I'll take. It's better than
Yeah,
Rodon.
3.97, which any other Garrett Cole start where he gives up like 3 runs, it'd be lower. He's 6-5 this year. He's only made 15 starts, so again, that's not even close to what he usually does. He's usually a 30 start guy, so he's like halfway through what his usual numbers are. He's only got
Right.
79 innings under his belt, pitching with the bad elbow. He's still struck out 87 batters, and he's given up 27 walks. Yeah, has he gotten blown up in a few starts? Absolutely. But you're talking about a guy that's probably pitching hurt. I don't know if he's 100%. The velocity's is not down a ton, but it's certainly not what he was a year ago. But again, we're talking about Garrett Cole here. We This is a fan base that's saying this is the best pitcher in baseball, and I completely stand by that. If he's healthy, there's probably
Yeah.
nobody better than him. But we're talking about a guy that's only 15 starts in. He missed 2 months. And what exactly, NFE? What ace does not have a bad outing? Maybe Tariq Skubal this year or Paul Skeens, but that's like a rare thing because these two are absolute young phenoms. But it's gonna happen. Garrett Cole's not immune to bad starts, but he again, who do you trust more than him in this rotation? I don't trust anybody more than him. It'd be foolish to say that. And Dad, I know you didn't say to get rid of him, but you called him a has-been, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. You did say that. You didn't say to get rid of him. I was just going off on people that were saying to think about it. Maybe you should think about it. No, don't think about anything. He's not a has-been. You don't get rid of Garrett Cole. He's your ace. He's your number one starter in October. He's your number one starter in 2025. That's the end of the discussion.
Yeah, he pitched great in August. He pitched absolutely great in August. He had a 193 ERA in August. And it's just September. It's heightened to he's got a 441 in September. So that's really what it was. He's just kind of struggled lately. Whatever it is, I'm not sure. Oh, and by the way, I've just read the article in New York Post. Aaron Boone takes full responsibility for the communication mess, saying he says he prides himself on his communication skills, but he has to do better in that spot. So he says that the plan was actually uh, to walk him, but not at that point. But he didn't communicate with Garrett Cole as to when he should have done it. So that's why Garrett Cole made that decision. So it was actually on Aaron Boone.
He saved.
I told you guys. I told you guys. Still want to give him a 9 out of 10 NFE? Hmm?
Change that
So,
number.
let's. There you go, Damian Boone. This guy, man. I know. I mean, he just continues to. Oh, oh, I can't. I've got no words for Aaron Boone anymore. Um, so let's get to the Aaron Hicks Award. Let's start with Rob.
I think I gave it to the fans for saying to get rid of him, but I'm giving it to Alex Cora because he thought that whole thing was going to wake up the Red Sox and lead them to the playoffs. And if we see him again, it'll be different. Sorry to tell you, buddy, that ain't gonna happen. You can try to spark your team all you want, but you douchebag, it didn't work. So Aaron Judge had something to say about that. Thank God. Like I get it, he's a good manager, but
Great manager.
he comes off as such an arrogant prick sometimes. Kind of like he has such a hittable face, kind of like Nick Sirianni. I can't stand the both of them. And when he said that, I was just like, oh, please beat the living crap out of them. Beat them into submission. End their season. Hopefully we did, but they can still make it if they go on a big run. But to say that was going to wake them up and that was the moment that got them going, and then Aaron Judge said, nope. Giancarlo Stanton said, nope. And the New York Yankees said, nope. So I'm glad to see the Yankees bounce back yesterday after that debacle the day before, because I'm sure that what Cora said kind of woke them up. Because the Red Sox players are calling Cole weak as well. And then Cora said, oh, it was intentional. And what did he say, that they missed their chance to hit Judge? Cora openly admitting they were trying to hit him because they threw behind him in that same game. And then Judge said, if you're going to do it, try to hit me next time or don't miss. So Aaron Judge said, fuck you, right back. And he took it, 400 and some odd feet to deep center field. So fuck you, Boston.
That's
You
the
deserve
ultimate
it.
fuck you. Don't miss. that was brilliant. That's what I love to see from my captain. That's what I like to see. It's a bit of like, don't fuck with me. I love that. That's some New York attitude right there. Don't fuck with me attitude. It's a good one. That's it. Alex Cora's going down a couple of notches in my book. I absolutely rate him as possibly the best manager in baseball. I think he is. When I look at what he's had to manage and the way that he's managed them, I think that you could argue that he's the best manager in baseball. If I had a chance of having him as manager of the Yankees, I would take it 100 times out of 100. Don't at me. I don't care. He's a better manager than Aaron Boone by a million miles. But he's definitely gone down in my estimation with that. You can't be doing that shit. So weird, but it isn't all that. You know what's good? It brings a little bit of rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox again because it's been a kind of a boring rivalry for the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's been extremely boring. Like it's just been another game. But more things like this, like Cora acting like a bit of a jackass and Aaron Judge hitting grand slams and things like that, gives me kind of reminders of back in the day when A Rod would stick his middle finger up in the air on the Red Sox, who would be trying to hit him and try to piss him off and all that stuff. And Aaron Judge uh, and uh, and A Rod would always have the last laugh. So it's good to have a little bit of a rivalry again between these two. So I'm all for it. Clemens and Manny, that's right. There was Pappy involved, and of course Cheater. And these games would go on for like 5 or 6 hours, and they were just freaking epic. And and you know, if I was watching in Scotland, these games would finish at like 7 o'clock in the morning my time. And they would be going on, man. It'd be like 6 hour marathons, and they would be swinging at each other, and they'd be epic. You know what I mean? Those were great. I miss them. So I hope we get more of them in the future. So anyway, let's get to my Aaron Hicks Award. You could argue Mark Leiter. He's just been. I mean, he's Egyptian magician Kareem Garcia spot on, and I mean, you could argue that the whole creation of this award goes to people like Mark Leiter Jr. Because he is everything wrong. Everything that's wrong with baseball right now is Mark Leiter Jr. How the hell did the Yankees trade a really good arm for this clown? What the hell were they seeing? What analytic were they seeing that his 91-mile-an-hour fastball? They were like, oh, I gotta have him in the AL East in high leverage spots. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Brian Cashman gets such an L for this. Oh, and by the way, another of his moves, Gonzalez, got released from AAA because he was pitching a 4.50 ERA in AAA. So another bullpen move that was just an A plus for Brian Cashman, along with Delos Santos and Mark Leiter and you name it.
Caleb Ferguson.
Cashman's doing
It's actually insane how every arm that he gets, that besides De Los Santos, because you thought maybe he could be a project for Blake, but any pitcher that has an ERA like below 5, you almost don't want to get because they always turn into absolute fucking duds for the Yankees.
Every single move has been an absolute, utter implosion from Brian Cashman. And anything that involves pitching has been an utter implosion. Incredible. So you can argue that Brian Cashman could get the Aaron Hicks Award, but I'm sorry. I'm giving it to Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe, 1 for 15 for the series, 2 for 25. He's got a 0.80 batting average over his last 25 at bats, and a slug of 100. He's been freaking horrible. But here's the thing, right? I'm not gonna just trash him. Next time you watch an at bat with Anthony Volpe, watch the way he's swinging, because I've noticed he's not swinging with his lower half. He's only swinging with his upper half. So that means he's not generating any kind of power, and any kind of authority, and that's why he's rolling over on pitches. That's why he's late on pitches, and that's why he's striking out on a bunch of pitches. Because I did a little bit of film study on it, and I have noticed that over this recent slump, he isn't hitting at all with his lower half. It's just his upper half, and you can't hit like that. No one can hit like that. You can't even play golf like that. You can't play any sport like that at all. You have to have your whole lower half involved so you can generate power. Power comes through your legs, and Anthony Volpe's forgotten about that. I don't know what our Yankee hitting coach is doing. Maybe he needs more chicken parm, because maybe he needs Austin Wells to tell him how to hit. Because,
anyone can use some chicken parm, I'll tell you
yeah,
that.
I could do it right now, actually. But no, he's only swinging with his upper half. So there's something not quite right there that we need to pay attention to. Because I was watching the game, and then when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, there's something wrong with that swing. Like he's not stepping into pitches. He's not. I was like, whoa, what was that? And so then I started to look back at a couple of other at bats, and I was like, holy shit, this is a trend. But again, the Yankees don't seem to pay attention to anything that seems to happen. But that's so I'm not trashing the guy. There's something not quite right with his swing, and that's why he's not generating any power. We went through his advanced analytics in the previous podcast. I recommend you guys watching it. And he's blues right across the board, and blues are bad for those who are wondering. And when you see swings like that, that's why. So, Gregory Wimbald was a beautiful level swing. Yeah, there's dudes with much better swings. I'd say Peraza has a much better swing. He actually generates better power when he makes contact, but the Yankees hate him. Um, I don't know what's going on with Anthony Volpe, but he's not nearly as good as they tell us he is. There's something not right with him offensively. Robert, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. It just when he gets into these slumps, he's trying probably too hard to get out of it. And he's trying to hit one. This is the Yankees' issue: is when they get into slumps, these guys try to become Aaron Judge, and they want a lot of these guys to swing the bat like Aaron Judge does, but you can't do that. Aaron Judge is literally one of a kind because he's 6'7" and he's got the power of an absolute gorilla. Like you just can't mimic that, especially for a guy like Volpe who's not supposed to be that hitter. And I said this the other day, and I'm going to stick by it. At this point, now anything can change because he's only in his second year. But right now, you're looking at a ceiling of an average to hopefully slightly above average hitter and a plus defender. Luckily, his defense has not taken a hit, but the bat, it's disappeared. It's completely disappeared because for a while, he was one of our better hitters in the second half. He had an OPS of over 750. His average was up there. He was getting on base more. And you're like, okay, those are numbers you can live with from Anthony Volpe at the bottom of the order. But all of a sudden, his OPS has now dropped to like 660 or something, like 670. Like, it's bad. His at-bats have been bad to watch. And it doesn't help that he's either batting sixth, he's batting seventh, ninth. Keep him in one spot. That's what I would suggest. Maybe you sit him, but they just sat him the other day. So I don't know how much more that's going to help. Stick him in the 9 spot. Don't move him from there. And work with him. Yeah. If you can pull up that tape and figure it out, why can't the Yankees? And we talked about this last year. Why was it Austin Wells that was able to figure out, hey, you're not doing this like you did in the minor leagues, and all of a sudden it clicked for Volpe in the second half a little bit? Why is that not happening? So maybe you sit him and then just try to work on some stuff in the cage and then go back the next day and put him back in the lineup. But I'd say put him in the 9 spot. Don't move him. You figure out 1 through 8. Volpe's your 9 hitter, and you keep him there. And you hope that he just becomes an average hitter at best, to slightly above average. I don't know if we can put more expectation on him than that, but right now it's a tough at-bat to watch. And I try to defend this guy as much as I can, but you cannot defend it. It's bad. He's not putting the bat on the ball. He's not drawing walks. Sometimes you look for a guy that's, okay, at least he's seeing the ball better.
Walking the 25 at-bats.
Yeah, 1 walk, you can't have that. You got to be able to at least get on base before you can say the at-bats are starting to come together. That's the one thing that kind of helped Verdugo, is he started to get on base a little bit. And when he, I guess, broke out of the major slump he was in, I wouldn't say he broke out of anything, but he's been a little bit better. He was getting on base. He was starting to draw walks. And that led to at least somewhat better at-bats. It's not happening for Volpe. And we need him to get on base because he's one of the maybe 2 or 3 guys that actually has legit speed in this lineup. It's him and Jazz. So it's 2 guys, really. I don't say anybody else is Dominguez, but he doesn't get on base that much either right now. It's still very early for him. But it's rough, and I can't defend it much more. Like, he has to get better. There's only so much I can say to be like, look, we got to be patient. It's only year 2, but until we start to see those signs of improvement, you got to lower your expectations for the kid. Hopefully he can become a above average hitter, But right now, you're just hoping that he can become a below average hitter because he's really below average right now.
I have not seen John Boy's breakdown, but I will check that out. Thank you, John the Beagle Dad. I do believe that NYY recaps has a breakdown too. So it looks like a bunch of people are starting to see the blatantly obvious here. So I would love to know what our Yankee hitting coaches are doing. it's not a whole lot. Let's be honest, not a whole lot. Um, but it's a great breakdown, Rob. I completely agree with that, and that'll be our awards.
Another great award show, another great award session, and it's been a fun Monday morning. There is no game tonight, so the Yankees get a bit of a little breather before heading out west to take on the Mariners, who are still fighting for a playoff spot. Big West Coast trip coming up. We got Seattle and Oakland, and we know how well we play in that dump. So before the Baltimore series, we got a big West Coast trip. We'll be back Wednesday, hopefully with Uncle Tats. But quickly, before we do wrap it up here, what do you think about the Seattle series? Think we can take it?
Um, we always tend to struggle in Seattle and the West Coast, but we're in such a good spot. We're in such a great spot. We've ended the Red Sox. So just over this weekend, we've ended the Red Sox playoff hopes essentially. They're now their playoff hopes are like 8% or something like that, less than that. They've got a tough road ahead to even make it. So the Yankees extinguished the Red Sox, and they've kind of put Baltimore at arm's length now, in the rearview mirror. So Baltimore have not played well lately, and finally, it just took a little bit of a Yankee hot streak at the right time to start pulling away from them, and it's pretty good. So it's actually been a very good weekend. If you're a Yankee fan, you got to be pretty happy. Aaron Judge came back. We got some clutch hits in big spots. These are all good signs. You know, we've finally got a leadoff hitter. Good sign. Aaron Judge broke out of his slump. Soto came through. Those are all good signs moving forward. You know, our pitching has been sorted. We fixed the closer spot. So if you're wanting to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, things are starting to round into place for October. Now, the Yankees are not immune to doing some of the most egregiously stupid things that you will ever see on a baseball field, like what we saw with Aaron Boone and Garrett Cole. But the good news is things are starting to round into place, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more optimistic now heading into October that the Yankees haven't just gaslit themselves and haven't just convinced themselves that things that weren't working in July and August were magically going to start working now. They actually started making changes. All the things that we've advised them to do has fixed this situation. Changed closer was a big one. And they finally stopped messing around, and it's really helped. Because now once we're up in the eighth inning, now I have a pretty good confidence that we can come see it. And that's a big difference. And also, if you want a positive, if you're going into October and we're starting to win close games now, we're starting to win these situations where we're coming through in the ninth inning and extras, really good sign for October too. So the West Coast series is what it is. I think we'll be fine. Even though we kind of struggle on the West Coast, I'll be all right with 500 or better coming out of it. But the big takeaway from this is the fact that we managed to get a little bit of distance between us and the Orioles.
Yeah. Up by 3 games now. Hopefully we can put a little bit more of a distance between us and them by the time we play them after this West Coast trip. But Joan brings up a really good point. Need to see the Yankees win against good pitching. Seattle has that. So if we can take this series, it'll be against good pitching. And that'll be a good sign going into the postseason. This is a big West Coast trip because if we beat Seattle, it kind of helps Boston because Boston's behind them in the standings. But we need to put as much distance as we possibly can between us and the Orioles. We're very lucky that we were losing when they or that they didn't go on a hot streak when we were losing. They kind of were losing at the same time, and now
Yeah.
we've started to win while they have struggled, continued to struggle. They haven't won a series against a 500 team or better in like months. It's crazy because that
Yeah.
team is loaded. And I know they've had some injuries, but you would expect a lot more from the Orioles. So we got to take advantage of it because we know that they've got the talent to flip a switch if they really wanted to. So if we can go into that series against them at the end of the start of next week, I believe it is, with a good lead, this is the time to do it because we should be able to beat Seattle. And if they don't beat up on Oakland, there's going to be a lot to complain about. But this is a big trip coming up. Big series win. Hopefully, we put the Red Sox to rest for the rest of the season. We'll see what they do. But big series coming up for the Yankees against a really good Mariners team, or a decent Mariners team, good pitching staff. However, that is going to wrap it up for us here on this Monday morning. Thank you to everybody that was here with us from start to finish. It's always fun, and it was a great show. And Uncle Tat should be back with us Wednesday. He'll tell you all about his trip to Disney. What's Spencer saying here before we leave? I feel like the Yankees' best baseball is ahead of them. As long as they execute, they will do well this late in the season West Coast trip. But in my gut, I feel the best baseball is ahead of them. I certainly hope you're right, Spencer. This is a big trip. And we'll see what they do. And we'll be back on Wednesday to break down at least the first game of this Yankees-Mariners series. And then Friday, we'll be back for a series award show once again. So, make sure you're hitting that like button, hit that sub button, the notification bell when we do go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 and 11 a.m. on Sundays for the Upper Deck with Lynn. She was joined by Chris from Talking Rivals and Liftoff Jets. It was always cool to see Chris, and I think Sierra will be back next week, but I'm not too sure. She was on vacation as well. But make sure you check out all those shows, and again, we will see you Wednesday. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and as Uncle Tats always says, wear those pinstripes with pride and play hard.